Cool. Well, hello, Radha. I'm Benjamin, and thanks for doing this first call with me.
Thank
Yeah,
you for having me. I'm so excited.
hey, yeah, so we're just kind of sharing our inspiration around coaching first, and then kind of like what we've been working on lately. If you want to keep going or rephrase what you
Yeah,
had said, you've been started coaching from 2020 and then making this your main profession, and then maybe like some of the things that we've seen online, like the challenges on social media.
yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of, like for me, I've been coaching since 2020, and
Hmm.
probably like many other coaches, they've been coaching even before they call themselves coaches, right?
Yeah,
Whether
for sure.
friends or family or life. And that was definitely true for me. But when I decided to make this my main profession, I felt like I needed to have more certification and more degrees. And like, I personally spent a lot of money that I didn't have on programs. I just didn't work out the way that I had hoped. And so I'm kind of like rebuilding from a place of what I actually know to be true and what has worked for me.
Mm.
And so I'm still in my early phases. But and I'm not against degrees or programs, don't get me wrong, but I personally, like, I have 2 master's degrees. I'm actually a licensed mental health professional. I'm a
Oh,
therapist.
okay.
Um,
Nice.
so I have lots of,
You have a heart of
letters
service.
behind my name. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do. I
yeah,
do. I have
yeah,
lots of letters behind my name, which is great,
yeah.
but, I think it goes back to, like, how much you wanna help people and how much you wanna care
Hmm.
and, like, building that connection. I think the coursework is great, but like actually being there with people, that's like the real magic. And so I think that's I'm getting I've been like like I've went through waves and I was hustling quite a bit, but in the hustle I kind of lost my why. And so now I'm at a good place where I have an active caseload of 18, which is really good for me.
Oh,
That's a really good
nice.
number for
18
me.
people.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's really good for me where I'm at personally.
Yeah.
Maybe I could take on 1 or 2 more, but probably not more than that. Um, but I'm like, "Okay, now that I'm actually doing the work, doing what I prayed for," it's like it's a little emotionally exhausting, and so I
Hmm.
kind of have lost my why for a bit. So I'm glad we're talking about this because I think, like, for me personally, I went through a period where I just felt like I wasn't important. And when we get to be in these roles as therapists, as coaches, as healers, we get to remind someone that they are important. And that is kind of what my why is.
Well,
Like,
you're already doing like way better than like 95+% of everyone who calls themselves a coach. So that's something to be proud of. You're already at that next level of success that everyone's just like, how do I even get my first few clients? So that's pretty cool.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I think what helped me the most is like being awkward, being cringe, being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
asking friends for support. Like your best network is actually people you already know. So already coaching them and do like, I did do a lot of stuff for free. I did do a lot of stuff at discounted rates, but that gave
Hmm.
me the confidence to build things out and know that, hey, like I am actually good at this and I know what I can offer and I also know what's out of my scope and what I cannot offer.
Yeah. So then, okay, retouching what you said earlier, like that's where it seemed to be the kind of the challenge or the rift. It was like 2020 to now, all these certifications, have active caseloads, but then losing my why is one thing, and then the other thing is like I found that the things that I did maybe didn't really help me as much as I thought. You said you spent a lot on extra curriculums and maybe coaching programs or courses and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say the coaching programs were bad, but it's like you also have to have the bandwidth to do what they're telling you what to do.
I'm kind of
And to be
curious.
quite
I'm always curious, like what were they telling you to do, or like what was the
Yeah, it's a good
takeaway from
question.
that? Because I can share the things I've invested in too. It's always fun to kind of you can kind of learn from other people. Like if they've spent a lot of money, I was like, okay, well, what did you get from that investment? You know?
Yeah. I got a lot of videos, I got a lot of content, I got a lot of resources, I got a lot of ideas.
What was the thing that they were gonna help with with that?
Um, Increased revenue.
Kind of like visibility. Okay, more
Mhm.
clients.
Yeah, which it did not happen. Like, I was under the impression I could make like 100K a
Hey,
month, or under the impression that I could make like a lot of money,
yeah,
or be a six-figure coach. And I'm not saying that's not possible. I do think that is possible, but I think it takes time. And I think there is no such thing as a quick fix. You don't go from 0 to 100. You go from 0 to 1,
yeah,
and then 1 to 2, and 2 to 4, and then 4 to maybe 8. Um, and I think I was sold this idea that oh, I'm so marketable, which I do think I'm marketable,
yeah.
but
You
like I
are. You
was
got a
sold
great
that
smile, great energy.
like it could just happen. And so, you know, I think a lot of it is building confidence and putting yourself out there, as lame and as cliche as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how can people hire you if they don't know you're a coach,
Right.
or they don't know what you do? Or if you're selling, like, I also hated, like, you got a niche, you got a niche, you got a niche. And like,
Right.
I hate that because I love so many things. But at the same time, if you're not telling how you can help people, like, why would they come to you?
Right.
Like,
Okay.
and like that makes so much, and then now where I'm at now, it makes so much more sense. My messaging is so much clearer.
Mm.
I know who I'm serving.
Mm-hmm.
I know who I'm talking to. And even like the people I'm messaging to, I still have clients that are outside of,
Social media
like, I have
or
like
the
a
coaching.
36-year-old white male who's not my ideal client, but I he's still my client because something in the messaging still
Yeah.
attracted to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of like information in the beginning and it's overwhelming. And then you have all these, like, there's so much content and going through all these videos. And then it's like the digital marketing 101, right? Like your ideal client avatar. And then, like, so where is the separation of like how that's not really serving you as good as possible? Like what are they telling you to do like every day to grow your business? Hey, sorry, my cats are acting a little crazy. Cut it out.
That's okay.
Um,
Kitty.
yeah,
So cute.
they feel the energy. They get hyper. They want to see
Yeah,
who I'm talking to.
I love it.
Yeah. So what wasn't there to feel like this is exactly like a 5-star course or something like I'm always curious about the daily action steps. Like what do they tell you to do every day to grow your business?
I'm trying to think back. This was back in 2021, 2022,
Okay, you kind of
when
niche
I did the
down, you kind
program.
of find your
Yeah,
tribe, and then you post content, and then what?
yeah. And I just wasn't, I think part of it, I wasn't doing it. A part of it, I
That's
didn't
what
feel
everybody
confident.
wants to know. How do I actually get clients? What should I do in
Yeah,
4 hours today, or 2 hours today, or eight?
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it was more of like, I don't think there's anything to, like, yes, there's actionable stuff you can do, but it's also about who you're actually being offline,
okay.
and that confidence you embody. And I know that sounds kind of like woo woo
No,
and
I
like,
love embodiment coaching. I'm really into like the kind of the more feminine kind of like, because it's true, the inner attracts the outer, and I've had to do massive amounts of healing and like inner work. So that's probably more important than the business things, you know what I mean? Because it's like we only run on our emotions. So
yeah,
if I'm not happy, or if if something's
yeah,
going on, then I'm not gonna want to like log in and talk to So
exactly.
it's
And I think that's
totally,
what it
it's
is.
very
Like,
important.
yeah, I loved what you said. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
No,
just resonated with that so much because it was like I really had to clean up my life. Like, I really had to sweep my side of the street. And like, I could be putting, I was putting out all this content and like being podcast guests and like doing all the work.
right.
But I was like sniping. He's now my husband. I was sniping at my partner. I was like, just like, you need to be this way. Like, I was just like extra controlling and like extra, like, just like, I don't know. what I was
Maybe.
telling people or preaching about, I wasn't practicing.
What
And
was the message and how has it changed?
the message was, that's a good question. The message was like, be kind. The message was treat people the way you want to be treated. The message was,
Mm,
like give yourself permission to pause and respond versus react. I, by nature,
yeah.
I'm a very reactive person,
Yeah.
but through the many tools I have learned and I truly, truly practice today, it's like being more responsive, being mindful. We all actually know what to do. You know what to do. I know what to do. The person watching
Mm.
knows what to do. Is do they
It's
actually
frustrating.
apply?
It's frustrating though, you know, when we have this dream, you have this heart of gold, I really want to serve people, and then it feels like this marketing job, you know. That's what kills the spirit, right?
Yeah, it drains
And we
you
all go
because you
through
have to
it.
put yourself out there over
Yeah.
and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then you have to be like, I have to charge money. And then, or like for me, I was doing like, there's a balance, which I don't necessarily believe in balance, but there's a season of balance. But I was doing so much stuff for free that
Right.
I was draining my air and I'm draining my
Yeah.
energy. And then I was becoming super resentful. And
Mhm.
then that's not serving them or me, right? At that point.
Yep.
And so it's definitely a battle of like, what can I actually give? And also, what am I willing to receive? Like, you talked a lot about the feminine. I think the feminine is really good at giving,
Yeah.
but are we? I feel like the feminine is not so great at receiving. And so, like, can we open up to actually receive these opportunities that are meant for
Yeah.
us?
I might be a good person to talk to then because I came from the opposite. I was hyper fucking masculine and I'm good at business and I've built two businesses. Coaching will be my third. But I was very selfish and I'm wanting to extract, you know, just because it's just like, dude, we only have so much time in the day and I'm busting out, you know, everything that I've had committed to growing the business, you know, just because I've come from a lot of failure and I've come from feeling like I'm an embarrassment and like that. I won't go into my whole story unless you want. It's hard to do a speed session because when you feel the connection, it's like I don't know how long it's gonna take. Like we're just connecting,
Yeah,
you know. But
yeah.
so I don't want to overshare. But you know, yeah, it's tough
I,
to monetize a relationship, to monetize love, because love, we hear these things like love is free, kindness is free. As a compassionate person, I want to help people, but then when I ask, you know, it's like, do they take me seriously or do they see me as a professional? And then, you know, are they even qualified in the first place to pay me, which is very frustrating, you know. And then you feel like you're only supposed to market to people who have disposable income, which, you know, is kind of true. And then how do you balance out, I'm just being a generous person and maybe I'll have some karma or maybe I'll create blessings from this, you know. But then like, what am I supposed to do every day, you know? And then the emotional factor of like, this just sucks and I'm tired, you know. And like, especially with
life is lifing. Yeah.
especially when you're a healer and you're doing counseling or therapy or anything like that or life coaching, like, and then you're taking on their pain and you're healing their pain, and then you have to kind of like, do I even have an abundance of emotional energy to build my dream, you know, internalizing all that. I'm the same, like, it's weird, I'm like two very different like two different sides of me, but like I am a giver in the feminine or like spiritual sense or inner child or whatever you want to call it, creative. But like, you know, and then it's the same thing for me. I give everything I internalize their problem because by
Mhm.
nature I'm a problem solver. But then
Yeah.
like I'm trying to help them solve their problem, but they don't have the same intensity that I have. It doesn't even seem like they necessarily want to solve the problem. They just need someone to kind of like to kind of be
Yeah.
with them, you know. So for me it's really been a shift of like having an awareness, where is this person really at, and like am I
Yeah.
actually helping them or I'm just kind of wasting my energy. I should tone it back, you know, and meet them where they're at. So that's
Yeah.
been my kind of
I love that.
transformation. um,
Yeah. Thank
but
you for sharing that. And I think like that's what a lot of people can resonate. I think you talked a little bit, we didn't go too much into it, but your story of your own embarrassment, your own shame. And I think those are two big emotions, embarrassment and shame, that so many of us hold
Yeah.
and so many of us hide. And so I think that's probably the part that people resonate, want to be coached by you. And then
Can you say
bringing
that
it
again so
forward.
I can write it down?
Yeah.
Shame.
Like people with guilt and shame, those are like real heavy emotions that so many of us experience, but we don't talk about it, right? And so when people hear you speaking about that, or you share that vulnerability, it makes them feel safe enough to share that part with them, right? Let that part of them be seen. And then that's kind of pushing it forward. Like, maybe there isn't more for you to do. Maybe it's just to hold and witness and see them, and like you said, meet them where they're at. Maybe they're not ready to solve the problem, or maybe they need more validation or acknowledgement. Like, I know
Yeah.
we live in a world of, like, with the click of a button, you can get anything delivered to your door, right? Like,
Yeah.
we want instant gratification. But healing is a journey, it is a process. And I think we really need to slow down.
Yeah. I have some pretty bizarre thoughts on like why it's so difficult to break through the coaching kind of barrier. Sometimes it feels like there's this force field of like why can't I just it's strange, and I think like if you the law of attraction is kind of cliche, but I think it's just because so many people want it, like mentally, so many people are sending their mental energy towards wanting clients. But
Yeah.
my biggest download spiritually or like intuitively, and I like to talk about like all kinds of things like chakras, birth charts. It just depends on what people are into, personality types. But like, I think it's less about how do I get clients and more like, okay, I'll share what's been working for me and how I'm getting more momentum. It's like, it feels as though it's like waves of people come at a time. And in the past, I'm supposed to help this wave of people, even if it's for free, you know. And and it will attract like further and further emanations. But that's your tribe. Your tribe is the people who are in your life right now. And then the future success is on the ability to truly serve them. But we may have different challenges, I think, because we're maybe opposite energies sometimes. Like, maybe your challenge is maybe I need to restrict what I'm giving so that I have more to
Probably.
build. And then am I actually getting an ROI on my daily actions, which I could talk I do like to talk about sales and marketing and stuff like that. But you know um I was able to grow businesses pretty fast, so I think I'm pretty good at the business stuff. But you know, it's so much more relational. But then, like, so for me, I would get very frustrated with the tribe. I've been doing this same as you since about 2020. But I took a very long pause and built another business. I wanted to feel like more credible as an entrepreneur, and I wanted to like test my own theories on manifesting money in business. And
Yeah.
so that has changed for me over time because, like, okay, so I had a gym equipment business during COVID. I sold like weights in Houston. I'm from Texas. I'm in Washington right now, Washington State.
Okay.
um,
I'm in Texas.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was in Austin for four. I just moved out of Austin.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
and I grew up in San
I'm in the
Antonio.
Dallas area.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've been to all. Yeah, yeah. Texas is definitely my home, but um, yeah, but it's like such a different business model, like relationships. And so for me, it's like the the inventory is actually like the number of conversations we're having every day is the actual product is like this. But then it's weird because we're connecting first as friends, and then where does it change to where like is there a need, or are we just like trading? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's tough. um but Yeah, anyways,
I appreciate that. Yeah,
my
that makes a lot of
yeah,
sense.
my challenge was I would get frustrated and I would burn those connections, not
Mm,
realizing that I actually need those connections because
mm,
that's what I'm supposed to build off of.
yeah.
Not, so like I had a very critical childhood, my mom's like Chinese, and it was always like you have to do better, you have to do better. But
Mm,
was I shown a very healthy coaching when I was a child? Like, not at all. They don't
yeah.
even want to talk to me about business. They don't seem to care at all,
Mhm.
or it makes them uncomfortable, or I don't know. But like there's
Mhm.
been almost no emotional support in my life.
Mhm.
So when we talk about like shame and guilt and vulnerability, it's like, yeah, if you're not producing at 100% like a machine,
The
then you
pressure.
you are lazy and you're
Yeah.
failing. And it's like, yeah, but when we're processing trauma in clients, and when people are really just like lonely and need a friend, more so than like, oh, I have this coaching product, you know it's like so many things at the same time. It's so hard to,
It's
yeah, create
yeah,
a,
but you put it all into words
yeah.
so well,
Well, thanks.
because it's true that relationship matters and it's so easy to want to like burn that bridge or burn that relationship when you're not seeing the ROI almost.
It's like
But
we
the
have the
R
same problem but in two different ways.
Yeah, that's so funny
You're
actually.
giving to them and I'm saying this is not good enough and I walk away. So it's
Yeah,
like I
that's
think the
so
truth is like
funny.
in the middle of that.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I
But you
shouldn't.
have to cultivate that garden.
It is frustrating though when it's like I know what will help them, but they don't want to do it, or they're
Yeah.
not ready to do it. So it's like, because I would put myself in their position as if I it was me and it was my
Yeah.
problems, but that's
Yeah.
not how people are. They're not. You have. So I
Yeah.
wasn't empathic enough
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
really listen and like,
Yeah.
where is this person coming from and like what actually is going to help them. Because I think for like 90% plus of coaches, especially in the Facebook groups, like it's not like lead generation. It's like we want to have meaningful connections
Yeah.
and like actually know how to make friends in like it feels like a ghost land, these coaching
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah.
Like who is actually connecting and like, like post Instagram reels or what, like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of,
I think But I think another part of me is also curious, maybe like the clients you were serving were also not the right fit. Because if you're very direct, there are certain people that need that type of directness,
yeah,
right? And so I think it's like there's a little bit of both, right? There might be like they might not be the right client for you, you might not be the right coach for them, or like maybe that is a lesson for you to learn of like, hey, I need to slow down or I need to plant the seed or let them know they can come back to me when they're ready to make this type of change. Like that in
yeah,
between space.
yeah. um for me the biggest lesson has been to help people at a safe distance. I would give way too much of myself and then I'd burn out and then I get really fucking frustrated because they're not valuing what I'm doing for them. But
Yeah.
maybe I was too eager, and their enthusiasm was about a 3 and my enthusiasm was a 10. And then, I'm trying to help them become like an 8, 9, 10, and it's taken me down to like a 4. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, this sucks. And like
Your energy
the
reaching.
truth is they
Yeah.
were just never qualified. So,
Yeah.
it's like you have to know where to keep people, like keep them as a follow up and as a friend. But if they're only showing me a 3 of commitment, then I'm only going to show them a 3. You have to match them where they're at. Um,
Yeah.
like I had a
Yeah.
school group. Have you heard of School, SKOOL?
Hmm.
So I built a community like rapidly, and I quickly got to like rank 300 out of every single group on school. But I didn't make any money from the group, and that was so frustrating because I put in like 3 months of like
Yeah.
intense work
Totally.
for this, but the the payout was it taught me how to actually facilitate a group. I paid a coach $1,000 for like a group program, but he has one of the top 10 groups on school, and he makes multiple six figures. He's got a team. He sells tech and AI and stuff and does coaching. So it was cool to be around someone who is like winning, and he has like a very successful community where people just post organically. You don't have to like entice. That's the
Mm,
hard part. Like nobody's engaging. And so I
yeah.
learned that the reason why nobody's engaging is because I'm trying to be the guru versus I'm facilitating them connecting
Mm,
to each other. So that's the biggest, that's
yeah.
what I paid $1,000 for, to learn that one thing. You're not
Yeah.
the guru in a community, you are the facilitator. That's why none of these coaching groups are very good, because nobody is a facilitator. They're all trying to be the guru. Here's my
Yeah.
guide, here's my thing, here's how to get, money, blah blah blah. But it's not like being present for like I want people to be able to meet each other
Yeah.
independently of me, and I don't want to have to post. So I don't do any of those kinds of posts in
Yeah.
groups in groups anymore. I only do that on my profile. My profile, I'm allowed to just like coach and say exactly
Yeah.
what I want to say, but for the
Yeah.
group,
It's your profile.
yeah, for
Yeah.
the group, if anybody watches this video till this point, I want everybody to know it's completely about serving them, to help them break the ice with people,
Mm,
because yeah, I think like everybody goes through these trials and tribulations trying to grow a coaching business, and it's like they forget that the root of it is you have to kind of initiate conversation, but it should be based on just like we're doing right
connection.
now, like an honest
Yeah.
fun. It's not that serious, it's a fun, friendly, casual thing.
100%.
And
And
then
I think the other mistake that people make is they try to scale their business before starting it.
yeah,
Like you have to have three paying clients before you try to scale your business. And I feel like a lot of people are like, I need a website and I need this and I need this system and I need that. And I'm
yeah,
like, do you have one paying client? Do you have two paying
I had
clients?
none of that when I got my
Yeah.
first client. Yeah. And
Yeah. Exact same.
it
Exactly.
was
You don't need
it was just because we
it.
enjoyed talking to each other,
Mhm.
the relationship, super, yeah. That's like performance anxiety of like, am I really good enough, or like am I professional enough? It's like you don't have to be professional, you just have to have like a connection in your heart. It's a
Yeah.
heart connection, you
Yeah.
know
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
cool. Well,
Cool.
I mean, that would be like an intro session, but I'm taking like the day off, so if you want to keep going, we could. But that would be like a first. That would be like a
Oh,
speed session, I guess. But there's still
yeah.
like unanswered questions, and like we could go
Yeah.
further. But I can stop the recording right now. But if you want to keep chatting, I'm totally
We
open to
can
it.
stop it now and then
Okay.
maybe we could do a part two later or
Okay.
something if you're up for it.
Yeah.
This was fun and
Yeah.
random. I love it. It was so cool. I love the way our problems are the opposite. Like that's such a like nice way of thinking about it
Yeah.
actually.
I'm gonna stop the recording now, but then yeah, we can chat for a little bit more. Yeah. How do I? All right. Yeah, and then if anybody wants to do a chat, like that's kind of what a speed session would be, like your story, my story, sharing, and then like, would we want to chat again? And then
Yeah.
at the end of a session, I always think it's great to ask like for all the groups that they're in, networks. Maybe you might know someone, like you remind. There's actually another lady who was messaging me, and I feel like you might resonate with her, and so she had message from the same group, the parents and coaches, life coaches, etc., spiritual.
Oh
So
cool.
that might be a future connection. But yeah, just to see like, could we branch out from this into the future, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So okay, I'll
absolutely.
stop the recording
Absolutely.
now.